This Airbnb in Dansoman Estate, Accra, is only $40 a day and offers all the amenities for a comfortable stay. It is also conveniently located 30 minutes away from the airport. We also have 1 and 2 bedroom apartments for long-term rental at Englishi, Amamprum, 15 minutes to the Togo and the West Hills Mall going for 1,500 and 1,000 Ghana cedis only. Call Parry Group on 053 866 3532 053 866 3532. This is Parry Group of Companies.
Delight Coco.
Delight Coco, the authentic, original taste of African porridge. Available in all African and Caribbean shops. Delight Coco.
Living in Ghana, abroad, a first timer visiting Ghana, or a company wondering where to get quality service providers in Ghana for any job? Then Ajuma On Demand Services is here to assist you. Ajuma On Demand Services connect requesters and service providers such as masons, plumbers, electricians, auto repairers, home and office cleaners, trash collectors, rent agents, spa attendants, roofers, beauticians, teachers, CCTV installers, and all artisans on one platform. Yes, one platform. Trust Ajuma On Demand Services to sort you out any day, anywhere, and at any time. To download the app, please visit the App Store and Play Store or visit our website www.ajumapa.com.
Funding wallets on TapTapSend. Step 1. Click on Create Ghana Cedi Wallets below when you open the app. Step 2. Enter amount of your choice in Ghana Cedis. Step 3. Click on the Confirm and Fund wallet below to confirm. Step 4. Your wallet has been successfully funded. Step 5. Enter amount of your choice in Ghana Cedis. Step 6. Select or add new recipient. Step 7. Choose wallet as payment method. Step 8. Click on the Pay with Wallet below to confirm. Step 9. Your transaction is successful.
All right, it was a former about SVTV Africa. So thank God it's Friday. I hope so. Be home. Yes, I feel when you boy channel. So I'm more about live. Thank God it's Friday. Friday be out him 5:30 to 7. Many lawyer wisdom Macau wise man solicitors. A live program I say UK matters. UK in Como. What the other country be about emfa. We UK in Como. And more US so there many lawyer aba be. Inti we the lawyer wisdom Macau the UK in Como internet. Unimobia or UK, Unimobia planning so be UK, UK matters, making sure so be share link no soon should be. Question be up so bisa lawyer bia no, what they making sure say what they about comment section or time ni do the better screen so na lawyer answer inti very important na say ask lawyer, bisa lawyer inti share link no share your live for YouTuber, share link ni ma unu bi no soon tie bi. Adia ebeboa no so ti in future no ebia obeka se bia na mfa ho but ubetimi so achiro bi obi betimi ebisa o na also ubetimi achire nti make sure so be share live no mo am share Facebook no so make sure say obe share o share enko still hwe and once we invite you obi so me hwe bi nti share link ni keke hu ya bia cho say no a share unfollow ya no we follow ya unsubscribe your channel your YouTube channel so tap so and so I say we follow you on YouTube. I don't maybe one way me as the videos not to swat no when you be a share. Internet me wise man solicitors cyber biom. I mean go straight I'm in lawyer. Embra show no so. Lawyer. Boko there.
Boko unso.
Mesume ya pa na you get to say then echo.
Chale boko hit kakra na wa about your shame.
Hit wo.
Hit gakraba.
Say Musamba way this time you through to Yarabo.
Fra ha.
Say we an shut down boss. We an yes ba na nsu abefrem.
Kakra enso. Yani bo kakra na nso na to kakra za na ye.
Okay. Lawyer. NSP aba. Nyame aye adom ya be pie ne nso. Nti wise man solicitors then now see ehwe ene.
DJ me da say. Da say him say last week ne kasa about some very interesting topic Mr. Shade kasa about Mr. Shade and
Oh
asitna
yes.
of the
Hello lawyer. Uh I think the lawyer internet in freeze. I don't know what happened, but maybe the energy so. Obabaka me fix it no. I don't know what happened, but lawyer o internet in it koye.
Saba work.
Aha. Enti na yetie yeah last week you discuss Mr. Shade asem ni.
Yes, you're discussing Mr. Shade, and thankfully, to say the kind of to say normal man indefinite leave to remain based on the discretion and also because of the exceptional circumstances in it, your man indefinite leave to remain. Now, so we share senior Emrane Etia, answer na obi benya indefinite leave to remain, how your friend is settlement, as a set or meeting some requirements. But in a case like Mr. Shadidi, or no, one meet English language requirement, and our man be for English language requirement per se. Now, so man indefinite leave to remain. And see, and then you say categories bang now. No matter how long you've stayed in the UK, still no as a the English language test before you get your settlement. And now, as I said, we are the life in the UK test and start one year settlement in the UK. Apart from my non so Russia, here are more exempts. A bit more someone draw English language test them poor. Still no, but so and indefinite leave to remain. So we want to look at it this way and next to discuss that. It's a problem for a lot of people. Many will be now, will be at Watna from her for over actually 20 years long residence now. Or the indefinite. No, 10 years long residence based on NIBA. The indefinite. After so what not from her for 15 years already. Only at 10 years long residence. In total, with now for 25 years. Now, so still no. Even here said about English language test and sana. The indefinite. And because what now have for so long and then say, about the indefinite without the need for the
Before I remember what you asked, no, I mean, be somewhere. And then it's our test. We just to test you say, Oti omukasa na so omukasa oti na say. Then lawyer, I'm so o camera de ko off. Check o monitor we no. Na me bisa say
Mhm.
English language test no.
Yes.
Yes say omo test o say brofo no te. And out me tro. And asa utimi ka. Ɛna sɛ mfa ne sɛ mewɔ ba wɔ hɔ sɛ na wosi te nti sɛ mentimi ntwerɛ a na yɛ sɛ memfi kurom anaa ɔmo ma me asetena anaasɛ dɛn ɔba
David. Yam, pamu de yam pamo, wet na ha. So, English language test, speaking and listening, speaking and listening, and yet essay, and yet comprehend, and yet grammar. Whether your A and B are in place, and now you're more passage be set for kind near yourself, William kind David. It's only speaking and listening. Which
okay
the car, which is here, and I won't so which is here, what to make Emma and where and that is
okay
what it is about. So with the English language test now we have the speaking and listening, the reading and writing partner, and kahon. But sir, wokoye na fairly the reading and writing partner, but you pass the speaking and listening. That is all you need. So it can be in 4 parts, but you only have to pass the speaking and the listening part, not the reading and the writing part. So what the writing
Oh,
come, any kind of be pass it because uh, I mean,
any Indians in here, they go on and some come bro for any ade. No, it's one more thing, no mutimika there.
yes, yes. I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you. Almost wanting more response. That's the most important thing. So,
Okay, lawyer, over to you. Yentio, and over. Move on questions in terms of the time to do obe answer mo nyanti de opese obisa na bia no comment section or the troto time no do ye be bisa. So ask lawyer, over to you.
thank you. So, at you for your mama, good evening to everyone. Good evening to all the watchers, the listeners. Right. So, now, me person share about the requirement of English language test before when you're a citizen Oklahoma. In fact, to get your indefinite leave to remain and now answer when you're British citizenship. Now, there are different routes on which to be for answer with me and your citizen Oklahoma. Ebi yɛ sɛ wɔware nti ebi a wɔware efi Ghana ɛna wɔreba ebi a wo yere anaa wo kunu ɛna wode no ɛreba na ɛsɛ sɛ ɔyɛ English language test no. Actually, DJ, and cannot name 1 or 2 updates via the program I share the main topic now. Say, you still want me to do that, or you want me to carry on with the topic?
Okay, lawyer to aso.
Okay, means all right. Then maybe say your time.
My update in the aso.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Sorry about that. It's useful. Now, 2 updates, 2 major updates. Number 1, near air courses is saying is home office. Future, a minimum assets level. They are canceling some people's leave, particularly younger, yedi health and care visa na ebaye. Yemu bi edi emofra bi aka application na unsa mo ye yemma. Nanso home office afaichi mako check with the birth certificates issuing authorities in Ghana. Na almost say birth certificate no a new record bi aso e Ghana say amo na issue ye. Visa Eba, and now we've realized that a few reports have come out, and now a few refusals have come out, and Home Office, the report now we are said the birth certificates now property application, and yet Papa, and now someone do with the other birth certificates. Even after Home Office, Amao will be Sanumpo, because Wako use it document via any property. I'm going to say about the pass application. That one so would you know the amount down, not almost sign echo. We've got a record of a few of these happenings. Some other lawyers many almost ekasana. They've also had similar issues from their clients, and our clients have gone to them with similar situations. And in the area, I have said it time and again on this platform that yeah, using the proper documents for the applications. So, Uko use document via any papa. Example, birth certificates are here came. Any papa now. Home Office, refuse will ban application. And then one kasan kasa udiana ye the amount. I said no like this and I the amount no. Trip because what you see false document. Let's be very careful. Let's be very careful. Ɛyɛ a ɛrekɔ so nti wɔn a yɛde ama wɔn deda mpo ebi aba ebi nya mmaeɛ sɛ wonim na sɛ wode abɔfra bi kɔka ho na sɛ documents na wode ka ho no ɛnyɛ papa a wɔbɛtwa application no mu wɔbɛrefuse abɔfra no deɛ no wo deɛ no a yɛde ama wo no nso wɔbɛtwam ntumi mma anaa wowɔ ha mpo a wɔbɛka sɛ diploma na ɛkɔ. Number 2, maka ɛwɔ platform nso da nanso mahu sɛ ɛda so ɛrekɔ so. Sir, who the agent and now upa agent on your application in my make sure sir documents are with your agents now and no and a year application. Sometimes not agents in the be akofa document foforɔ anaa abofra foforɔ anaa obi foforɔ de akɔka wo ho sɛ ɔyɛ wo busuani sɛ ɔyɛ wo kunu anaa ɔyɛ wo yere wɔ mmerɛ a wonim ho hwee nti sɛ wo abɛdu ha wie anaa wowɔ kurom ha na nipa ne nso ba wabɛdu ha wonim sɛ ɔreba mpo yɛbisa questions na ɛkyerɛ sɛ ampa anaa ɛnyɛ nokorɛ sɛ wo ne nipa no yɛ related a ɔmbɛtumi atwa ɔno n'asetena mu na ɔmo ama no akɔ wo nso a yɛde ama wɔ ha no ɔmbɛtumi atwa wo nso wodie mu aka sɛ wɔuse false you provided false information or you've not been honest enough na ɔmɔtwa wo nso asetena no mu nti nea ɛyɛ a meka ne sɛ please sɛ wode w'adwuma ma agent bi sɛ ɔnyɛ ɛma wo a ensure sɛ document a wode ama no no ɛno ɛna ɔmfa nyɛ application no ɛma wo sɛ biribi foforɔ ɛkɔfra a yɛ anaa di problems bebree ɛde ɛba nti yɛsrɛ mo that is the problem we are facing these days the agents are doing their best but sometimes bia na obi foforɔ documents akɔfra sometimes because you deal with a lot of paperwork they deal with a lot of paperwork possible sɛ so 2 or 3 files on your desk at the same time if you don't package them well or wrap them up properly very likely sɛ obi foforɔ document wɔkɔ akɔfra obi foforɔ deɛ wanhwɛ a na akɔ create problem ama wo ɛno nti please sɛ agent no upload document no mpo anaa before we upload document no ma ne mfrɛ anaa wofrɛ no na bisa sɛ can we go through the documents that you are uploading and be sure sɛ it is the right documentations ansa na upload it ɛnyɛ saa it will be refused and you'll be banned for 10 years from coming to the UK. So let's take note of that. The other thing also I want to say, pictures. The applications now. Sometimes, not Yakopo will be for any of you for any other boom, kind of picture. It can be detected. Among who said, and yet genuine picture, and yet correct picture. But two different pictures now. Boom. Yes application. It can create all kinds of problems for you. And again, it can lead to a ban, a refusal, and ultimately a 10-year ban from coming to the UK. So let's please do the right things. Let's do the right things. Pictures, very important. Use only the genuine pictures, not the pictures that have been made together, David. Do the right thing. The next thing I'm concerned with you with regards to the e-visa. Now, so we'll share the requirements for e-visa now. And now, so who biometric residence permit? I'm also e-visa now. Home Office say, so who residence card? We have residence card and we have residence permit. Residence card near under the EU rights or rule as say, and a residence permit under the UK rules now say. Sir, residence card. Home Office say, if you have a residence card and you've been issued or you've been granted a leave under the settlement scheme, then you already have the e-visa. You don't have to do anything. My Mr. Studio, we are you name and a you family member. Not set. Residence card. And a EU settlement scheme in Unsua. Either settled status or the pre-settled status. Home Office say, you already have the e-visa. And in here set over sign the e-visa. There's a lot of confusion. People are calling me, asking me, why am I trying to do it and it's not going through? Probably because the residence card. And the pre-settled status and unsettled status and automatically Home Office say the e-visa and sesa the residence permit the e-visa because is under the UK law, not under the EU settlement scheme route, not under the EU law. We are under the UK law. In that case, as I said, we are application based on showing your residence permit to obtain your e-visa. One, you can do it. Ukra, residence permit. Share card no so. Next year say, how much your residence permit and a residence card. So a residence card, one year if you have the EV, if you have the settled status or the pre-settled status. So your residence permit, any as a set we have the e-visa. So those are some informations I think quite important for us to know. I think are quite important for us to know. So please take note of that. The other thing, any DRV, document verification reports, yes, these days. Idea, say, home office, or application be, now home office for sick documents that we're using and yet genuine documents. In order for them to prove their case or to make a strong case against you in court, the Home Office can go, or the entry clearance officer can go to the authorities that are supposed to issue the document. So it can be a birth certificate, it can be a death certificate, it can be a university certificate, or any other certificate. They can go and check with the authority that is or seem to have issued that certificate. And if it is not genuine, they will be informed with a report, your friend of DRV, Document Verification Report. So that document verification report needs to say, near Wolf Cano and a document now with the Abano, a genuine, and yet genuine document. So, and yet genuine document, then the Home Office will base their argument on that to make a case in court against you. That is, if you should appeal, if you appeal the decision, the Home Office will use that as their evidence. Because the document now will be and yet proper. So the document verification report is very, very important to the Home Office. And yes, Remo, again and again, let's do the right things as far as document productions are concerned. Obtain the document from the right source. Obtain your documents from the right sources so that you don't get into difficulty or problems. So, and not any updates the person with the and another thing is the UK government, the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, or say they are going to engage in quick, they are going to more or less take up the processing, they are going to consider the processes of asylum seekers. And to younger Nanka, yes, here, Rwanda, no, young Prime Minister said, Home Office, every year, processing application as quickly as possible. So we are looking forward to see how it's going to progress. And if there are any new developments, we'll be more than happy to let you have those. So let me go to the topic for this evening. I will talk for just a short while, and then I would allow us to ask some questions if we do have any at all. Now, sir, what not from her 5 years and now 10 years lawfully not as a set with indefinite leave to remain. There are different requirements that you have to meet and sana when you're with indefinite leave to remain. So let me start with Obia with Ghana Aba. If you're worried and sana over. Before Webano, several degree certificate and a master's certificate, which is equivalent to a degree or a master's in the UK, it's required that overthrow the English language test level A1 in Ghana and Sana Wapa. And I believe, say younger any degree no, you throw sa exams no, and as our test and Sana yeah. I know yeah, English language test level A1. So what we do UK ha? Now who call for the first renewal and the extension of your leave, will not over here the English language test level A2. So A1 from outside and A2 whilst from her. So we try the second 2.5 years new year. Now as I said, we call for your indefinite leave to remain. And no, as I said, we throw English language test level B1. So we start from A1 from outside, A2 from inside, B1 inside. A1 from outside, A2 inside, B1 inside. Ansana, what's the main application for your indefinite leave to remain? Where you obia waware, Ansana oba. A1, A2, B1, and also life in the UK test. Ansana wanya we indefinite leave to remain. Now, assuming say obi ewo krom ha or the 10-year route ne so ono wanya onya ware de ni no onya ware no di pa but for the application no onya based on the back. Sa nipa no, the question is say or yeah extension na obenya English language test ana no, because eye ne ba so na offer ye edinya na sitna no. The first 2.5 years you don't need any English language test or life in the UK test. You don't. The second 2.5 years, you do not. The third 2.5 years, you do not need the English language test or the life in the UK test. The fourth one, you do not need it, but the call for your indefinite leave to remain. After doing 10 years, now we'll call for indefinite leave to remain. One of as a set will pass the life in the UK test and the English language test at level B1. English language test level B1. Wo saa nipa no ɛsɛ sɛ wopase saa test no ansa na wobɛtumi akɔ for your indefinite leave to remain. However, sɛ obi a ɔwɔ kurom ha on the 10-year route no so based on the yiri anane kunu. First 2.5 years, one draw English test. And whilst you are in the first 2.5 years, you've decided to go for another 2.5 under the 5-year route, not on the 10 years, but on the 5-year route. Because we'll switch it the 5-year route as a set ultra the English language test. Mamensi subium say 10-year route this one, you do not need to write the English language test. If you're on the 10-year route, you don't need to write the English language test. But so we'll switch it from the English, yeah, switching from the 10 years to the 5 years now. One as a set which show the English language test at level B from A2. I'm sorry. If you're changing from the 10 years to the 5 years, you have to do the English language test at level A2. Remember, say omo outside on the draw A1. So Uba is A2. Then after 5 years of being a parent, you then have to go for your indefinite leave. You do the B1. So inside the UK is A2 and B1. Inside the UK is A2 and B1 if you don't have a first degree or you don't have a certificate certified by ECTIS as being equivalent to a degree in the UK. We'll not overthrow the A2 and the B1. So that is it. There are some exemptions. So, Nepali under 18 years, you do not have to write the life in the UK test or do the English language test. If you are below 18 years, you don't have to write the life in the UK test or the English language test at level A2. If you are below 18 years. If you are between 18 to 64 years or 65 years, one of overthrow the English language test at level B1 and life in the UK test and sana wako akodiu indefinite leave to remain. If you are between 18 to 65, you have to write the English language test at level B1 and also the life in the UK to get your stay in the UK permanently or indefinitely. EU4 and Kahuniame EU nationals and you're part of it. Omono intro exams via no English language test, no life in the UK. For EU nationals, you don't have to do any test at all for your settlement. But so indefinite British citizenship, my apologies. British citizenship, I honor and SSF over yet the test that you didn't do the first time and maybe you have to do it the second time because you have to do it for your citizenship. The requirements for the citizenship are very different from the requirements for the settlement. So please take note of that. So 18 years below, no test. 65 years and above, no test. That means this will be 18 years below, no test, no life in the UK. 18 years to 65 years, you have to do it. And also 65 years and above, no test. So I'm going to consider some people within from 18 to 65. How can you be exempt? So want to me Andra, how can you be exempt from proving the English language test and the life in the UK test if you are between 18 years to 65 years? One, medical grounds. So, who medical condition? Anonti want to me Andra. One form bi wɔ hɔ yɛfrɛ no KNOLL. KOLL. Knowledge of life and language. KOLL. Knowledge of life and language in the UK text. Wono wuntro sa exams no. If you can get that form, now the amount with GP and our consultant. Now we're also about your medical condition. So because of the area we want to take, and you deal with natural exams now, then the Home Office will consider it and decide to say, okay, because of the area and you deal with exams and I wait me idea no pass it. The sign here, then you may not have to write the English test at level A, at level the B1, and also the life in the UK test. You don't have to write that one as well. If you have a medical condition that will make it impossible or can just, by virtue of the medical condition, there's no way you can ever pass that test or learn to pass that test, you may be exempted from writing the English language test and then the life in the UK test. That is one. The other one is there are other exemptions. There are other exemptions which I want to quickly look at. So, we are and you are a victim of domestic abuse. Domestic abuse. And a domestic violence, you do not have to write the English language test or the life in the UK test to get your indefinite leave to remain. So we are a victim of domestic abuse and Sessa Utro English language test and Sessa Utro life in the UK test and Sama when you're indefinite leave to remain. So that is for your information. If you're a victim of domestic abuse, won't drop, take note of that. But to qualify for indefinite leave under domestic abuse, you need to prove a lot. You need to prove a lot. A lot of evidence. You are truly a victim of domestic abuse, not a made-up victim of domestic abuse. It has to be a genuine victim of domestic abuse. You have to provide medical records, GP records, police reports, maybe a consent or some report from the 7 of Black sisters. You're a victim of domestic abuse. It is based on this evidence and known as your application for indefinite leave to remain as a victim of domestic abuse. The government or the Home Office will decide to waive your life in the UK test and your English language level B1 test for you. Even if you're a victim of domestic abuse, but you cannot prove it, you have nothing to prove that you are truly a victim of domestic abuse, in that case, you cannot prove and you will not be exempted from writing or showing evidence that you passed the life in the UK test and then the B1. So if an outquire application is based on the fact that you're a victim of domestic abuse, please make sure you have your evidence that will support your case. So that is for your information. Number 2, foreign and Commonwealth citizens on discharge from the HM forces. So if you are a foreign or a Commonwealth citizen, or the military, soldier, we are soldier, And for whatever reason, you've been discharged from service, you don't have to write the Life in the UK test or the English language test and sign the indefinite leave to remain at the amount. You don't have to write it. Number three, highly skilled migrants applying under the terms of the Highly Skilled Migrant Program (HSMP), judicial review, and their dependents. We are highly skilled migrant. You are applying under the judicial review um, scheme. Now, in that case, one, you don't have to write, and your dependents also do not have to write the Life in the UK test or the B1 before you get your indefinite leave to remain. Another category of omunjro you don't have to write is that if you are a spouse of a bereaved partner, if you're a bereaved partner, if you're a bereaved partner, in other words, when you grown a war and only you in a war and sadly they passed, you don't have to write the English language test at level B1, and you don't also have to write the Life in the UK test and sign for your indefinite leave to remain. So if you're a bereaved spouse, bereaved civil partners, unmarried partners, and same-sex partners of people present and settled in the UK. So if you are a bereaved partner, a bereaved spouse, and now you are not even married now, so you are unmarried partners, are muted together, and your partner passes away, as long as you were given leave to be in the UK as a partner, and sana your partner a female. So you are sitting based on what your partner no, not with female, because we're sitting on the other so air to us, and of course, because one you had the intention, say you were going to live together as partners and sana o female. What sana pano won't draw the Life in the UK test, and I won't draw the English language test level B1 and sana yadi will indefinitely know at the amount. So bear that in mind. The other category is parents, grandparents, and other dependent relatives. So parents, grandparents, and other dependent relatives of people present and settled in the UK, applying under Program 317 of the immigration rules, even if they are aged between 18 to 64. Now, sir, will be papa, why application am papa, if Ghana, about ha, to be your dependent, adult dependent relative. Your parents, your grandparents, and other dependent relatives are, and we are more than 18 years old, between 18 to 65. Even though they are more than 18 and they are less than 65, the fact that Omuwo Asitna are extra they are dependent relatives. Omono Emrani said they shouldn't write the English test or the Life in the UK test to be in the UK. So that is for your information as well. Parents, grandparents, and other dependent relatives of people present and settled in the UK, even if you are between 18 to 64, you do not have to write the Life in the UK test or the English language test level B1 to get your supplement here in the UK. The other one is we have adult dependent relatives under Appendix FM of the immigration rules. So we are looking at two things here. Adult dependent relatives under Appendix FM or other dependent relatives that come under paragraph 317 of the immigration rules. These are two separate rules, but in both cases, I won't draw English language test and I won't draw the Life in the UK test now before you get your leave to be here in the UK indefinitely. Another category of Omo retired persons of independent means. And you are retired, early retirement, and you have your independent means, you are able to sustain yourself, etc., etc., and you are classified or you are regarded as a retired person of an independent means, once you don't have to write a Life in the UK test, you don't have to write the B1 to get your indefinite leave to be in the UK. Also, So we will be work from her, and you are applying for indefinite leave to remain as a refugee. So our refugee route ni so a, humanitarian protection ni so a, one won't show English language test, and I won't show the life in the UK test as well. If you are in the UK as a refugee and you are going for your indefinite leave to remain, you do not have to write the life in the UK test, or indeed the English language test level B1 won't show and also indefinite leave. Another category of Omwa, even though you are between 18 and 65, and not 64, I won't show any younger, Yamaya Asitna for based on discretionary leave. She said Mr. Shade Dieda Mekano. On don't know because he had demanded discretionary based on the compassionate circumstances under which his case fell into. Oh no, no, he didn't have to write the English language test because he's also been here for 46 years or so. He did not have to write the English language test. Set Obenya Asitna Krakra Ewo UK. That's indefinite leave to remain. In that case, you'll be granted the indefinite leave, but it's not based on the English language test now, what you're on the so. So let's take that into account. And a younger year under the humanitarian protection. Again, asylum and humanitarian protection. No, so no, so no. Yensu ensure English language test no, to get our indefinite leave to be here in the UK. So if you've been granted leave or you are being granted indefinite leave to remain under humanitarian protection, you such a person will need and sasa utro the English language test and san witna as obia when you sit in a crowd. So discretionary arrangements such as those of Gericus, okay, people also applying for immigration rules, outside the immigration rules, for example, the Gericus, widows, average dependents and orphans. All these people don't have to write the life in the UK test, particularly the orphans, the widows, etc., etc., etc. That is people applying for indefinite leave outside of humanitarian protection, people applying for indefinite leave outside the immigration rules. Example, the discretionary arrangements such as those for the Gurkhas, widows, average dependents, overage dependents, and orphans. Who stand for once more ensure English language test. People applying for indefinite leave as a stateless person. If assuming that you don't have any state, for whatever reason, you are not classified or linked to any particular state or country, will sign it because you are deemed as stateless, won't draw English language test now, and I won't draw the life in the UK test now. Ah, Udibanya Wasikna, Ewo, Makroha. So, in addition, doctors, dentists, nurses, or midwives who have previously been granted leave under Tier 2 General do not need to meet the English language requirement for indefinite leave to remain. I mean, doctors, nurses, dentists, midwives, Yama Sitna, and the Tier 2 General, no, you do not need to meet the English language requirements for indefinite leave to remain. They do not need to meet the English language requirement for indefinite leave to remain. So if you're a nurse, a doctor, a dentist, a midwife, and you've been granted the leave under the Tier 2 General, well, no, you don't have to write the life in the UK test to qualify for your indefinite leave to be here in the UK. So these are the exemptions of people who do not have to write the English language test or the B1 test to get their indefinite leave to remain. But sɛ wokɔ akɔgye wo in wokɔ akɔgye wo British citizenship, the American has to do with indefinite leave to remain. If you're going to do or to have your British citizenship, the rules are different. And no, you are required to pass your life in the UK test and also to pass your English language test level B1. if you're going to go for your British citizenship, you have to have your life in the UK and the B1 test. But obviously and naturally, some categories of people will also again be excluded from writing. Example, obia oye physically or mentally impaired. Ana ontimi onieni no wagokan. Enya fe no kwosua braille no so na odi dia kinkan. Ana obia na so enti asam. Obia someone who is deaf and someone who is mute and cannot speak. They cannot hear, they cannot communicate. Such categories of people, what we hear and is said, they may be excluded from meeting the requirements under the UK immigration rules, the UK British Nationality Act for their British citizenship. So that is also a section we have to take note of. The indefinite leave is different. The British citizenship is different. Indefinitely, you may get away with the English exams, but under the British citizenship, you may be caught there, and you may have to do it as you are required to do before you can get your citizenship to remain, citizenship to be in the UK. So, DJ, now when we look at the overall exemption principles or guidance notes, a lot of people are excluded. By Yanka Krana Akano, it is possible to do it, and yet you're just speaking and listening. Once you are able to go over and over, go onto the YouTube, enter English language test level A2, listen to it over and over, listen to it over and over, and you would be able to understand the kind of questions they'll be asking, that you are able to answer the questions. So Ubukuna Okohwa becomes very easy for you because you've practiced, you've listened to it, you know how it works. When you go there, it's just a matter of minutes, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, you are out of there and you get your certificate. The life in the UK test na tricky kakra. But enumpono se ufre and I will call online. Now we apps who download this app and now see it over and over and over. And no one will say you can answer the questions. Once you answer the questions, even those that you get wrong, you take note of those wrong questions, and then the next time you know what not to select. And to go online, do the test, book your test with the Life in the UK providers, and go and do that. And of course, Upasia, you'll be able to have your settlement in the UK. It is very painful, so but not from her for a very long time. Nothing. Time now do say indefinitely. So when to me when to me anya English test no anya indefinite leave now. Yes, about you have 2.5 years, another 2.5 years, another 2.5 years, and you keep wasting money. Every 2.5 years, you have to go and pay £3,635 and 3,000 £3,635 and 50p. Yes, 3635.50 every 2.5 years. So that's a passing once and for all. That saves you a lot of hassle. So DJ, I'm sure there might be one or two questions that I can respond to it before I jump into my other program this evening. Thank you, DJ, if you are with me. Hello, lawyer. Hi, Grace Press. A friend of mine came to the UK with a scholarship from Ghana, and as part of the scholarship condition, she must return after her studies. Can she apply for the 2 years graduate visa? Unfortunately, until she is released from Ghana, so on a release letter, yes, you are required to come back home, but we have decided to release you. In that case, obetimi I 2 years graduate visa. But say releasing and yet possible say obetimi because on the form the Home Office will normally ask if you are here as a sponsored person by a government or an organization. In that case, you are supposed to go back. So if you want to stay in the UK, then you can of course apply to the organization to release you so that you can apply for 2 years leave to be here as a graduate to work for some time before you make your plans to go back home. Hello, Regina Kusi Yabua. What is the process for 10 years route renewal, especially with the VRP card expiring in December 2024? The card is expiring, but the leave is not expiring. It's just like your Ghana passport can expire, but you still remain a Ghanaian. The passport can expire, but you're still a Ghanaian. Your British passport can expire, but you're still a British citizen. The card can expire, but you still have the right to be in the UK as a person who has the right to be here accordingly. So, check the uh, go on prove your right to work in the UK, do your check, go through a process. You will see exactly the date on which your leave expires. Now, if you are not 10 years yet in the UK, you have to keep renewing. So, the letter that the Home Office will send to you, no, ɛbɛkyerɛ sɛ wasitena no ɛbɛwu in January 2025 and now July 2025. Asitena no letter no ɛbɛkyerɛ the date wasitena no bɛ expire. So time no ɛkɔ so a month before the time, please make sure you apply to renew your leave. That is 28 days before wasitena no bɛwu no, nea ɛwɔ passport no mu nea ɛwɔ letter no so bɛwu no. Please ensure that you apply for your extension. Mentwɛn ma ni enwu ansa na wakɔ for your extension. Please ensure that you apply before it expires based on the dates in your cover letter, the letter the Home Office sent to you. Look for that date. So, if you ask me the process for the 10 years residence application, even though the cards are expiring, my answer is that keep renewing your visa or your leave until you are 10 years in the UK legally. And once you are 10 years in the UK, you are able to go for your indefinite leave to remain. So please don't worry too much about the card, but rather focus on when you were granted the first 2.5 years and the dates on your decision letter. Okay, the next question is, please can you help me get sponsorship job in the UK? Oh, Manasseh, I wish I could. I very much wish I could. A lot of people have contacted me, but I unfortunately don't have the any contacts of the employers of the businesses that may want to recruit people. I unfortunately I don't have one, so you may just have to keep plowing and keep researching. I'm sure something beautiful will come out there for you. I'm so sorry that I can't be of any much help in this case. Um, Manasseh. All right. Again, how can you have a working permit from Ghana? And lastly, how long does spouse visa take place before it's approved? And can a spouse get indefinite visa after 3 years? Thank you. Thank you too. How can you get a working visa from Ghana? Well, it is possible to get a working visa from Ghana to come here because, or once you have a sponsor. If you have a sponsor in the UK, if you have a brother, a sister, a friend who knows a sponsor that is looking to recruit or to use your services, they can always refer them to you or refer you to them. You have a chat with them, they assess you. If you are eligible, then they can give you the sponsorship certificate. Then you can apply to come to the UK to work here. So, yes, it's possible to get a sponsorship. The next question is, how long does a spouse visa take place before it's approved? If it is in the UK, assuming the person is in Ghana and your other partner is in the UK, and you make the application to join your spouse here. If you went for the standard one, it's 3 months. If it is standard, it is 3 months. But if you paid the extra £500 for an expedited processing or service, you get a decision within 15 working days. 15 working days, which is 3 weeks. So it's either 3 months wait in agony or 15 working days waiting, hopefully that a decision will come. So it's 3 months or 15 working days. Thank you. But the 15 working days is if you pay the extra £500 for the processing. Thank you. Nyako, hello Nyako Abronoma, hello. Can immigration in the UK with skilled can immigration in the UK with skilled worker visa switch to frontier worker visa? It is possible. Now, there are some limited categories of people who cannot switch. Now, if you're here in the UK as a visitor, you cannot switch. If you are in the UK as a carer of a child student, you cannot switch. If you're in the UK as a seasonal worker, you cannot switch. If you're in the UK with leave granted outside the rules, you cannot switch. And if you're in the UK as a person who has overstayed, you cannot switch. Besides these categories, and of course, if you're here as a worker in a domestic household, private domestic household, you can also not switch. But if you are not in any such categories, but you're on a skilled worker visa, it may be possible to switch to the frontier worker visa in the UK. So please look into that. Go to gov.uk and then enter the requirements for frontier workers, and then you see who can switch into that category, and then that will be very, very helpful to you making a decision. Thank you. Joanna Osafo, hi, Joan. Hi, Laya, please. I want to know if the main applicant is not working and the renewal of the BRP is in December. Will it affect me since I am not working? Well, yes, it can affect you because I always give this example that the dependent is like a branch on the main tree. The branch is attached to the main tree. So if the main tree is not doing what it's supposed to do, in other words, it's not working with the company that brought them, then when it comes to the point of renewal and the Home Office is asking for documents to prove that you and your sponsor are actually been together, you work with the sponsor and you are the dependent. If you do not have evidence, pay slips, bank statement, letter from the employer to confirm these things, you may then have difficulty in proving that you actually comply with the rules from when you were issued to when you want to apply for your extension. So yes, it could possibly affect you. So I would advise you to quickly look for an employer where you will have enough work to do so that at the time of the renewal you don't get too many problems, please. I Chief XTV. I am an EU citizen. I applied for a spousal visa of which I was granted, but I wrote the English test, which is the A1. So want to know if I would have to write the English test after 5 years for my indefinite leave to remain. No, you don't have to write the English test at any level at all if you go in for your indefinite leave to remain. Because under the EU rules, under Appendix EU, the English language test is not a requirement. And therefore, if you did it yourself, which is a good practice, that is okay. But you do not need to write the English language test at level A2 before you get your indefinite, or level B1 for your indefinite. You will need it when you're going for your British citizenship, but for your indefinite, you do not need to prove that at all. Hello, Hussein. I hope you're doing very well. If you're an EU national, do you need to do the life in the UK test to go for indefinite? No, no, no. You do not need to do the life in the UK test to go for the indefinite leave to remain. You only need it when you're going for your British citizenship. You only need that test when you're going for your British citizenship, not when you're going for your indefinite leave to remain in the UK. You do not need it. Right. Manasseh Ebenezer. Can a person who has been banned from coming to the UK come to the UK with spouse visa if the marriage is genuine? There are some exemptions to the paragraph 320 general grounds for refusal. The part 9, paragraph 320, general grounds for refusal specifies certain categories of people who are excluded or who are not banned from the UK, even if they committed certain kinds of flaws. Those people, if you use false documents, you couldn't be caught. If you use false information, you could be affected. But if you left voluntarily to Ghana by your own accord, you can go and come again without necessarily having to wait for 10 years or for 5 years or for even 1 year, as long as you went by yourself voluntarily. That is not a problem. But the question is, a person banned from coming to the UK come as a spouse. What was the reason for being banned? I would like to know the reason why the person was banned. If it is for the use of false documents, then that can be considered seriously. The Home Office can then say, yes, all right, even though you are not caught by the clause upstairs that you are exempt, you have tried to significantly frustrate the intention of the immigration rules. In that case, they can use that clause to refuse the application again. So, yes, I would say it's 50-50, depending on the reason, the grounds for you being banned. So, please, 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 I would advise that you send me the decision. Let me take a look at it before I can give an informed advice. Hamadi Joe, hi. My visa sponsorship terminated. My sponsor's license revoked. I've less than a month grace period. I just got a good job. What should I do, please? Right. If the job you got or the company you're working with have the sponsorship license, then they can apply for you to stay. As long as you're within the period where they say you can switch or you can find an alternative, normally 60 days. As long as you're within that 60 days period and you've got a good job and they have the sponsorship license, switch. Switch to the new employer. Thank you. Now, if I mean switch, yes, once you go to COA, if you want us to do it for you, you can always contact us. We'll be more than happy to do the test, to do the application for you. Thank you. All right, Vivi. Good evening, lawyer. Good evening, Vivi. I believe I pronounced it well. I would like to know if a graduate and his dependent spouse can apply for the graduate route visa separately. Can he or can be one of the 2 months interval separately? Well, it depends. You can do it a month interval, 2 months interval, especially if there is no money to do it together. So if you don't have the money to do it together, but always make sure that you do it before the leave expires. Do it before the visa expires. Otherwise, once the visa expires, you will find yourself in a very difficult position to justify why the visa expired before you attempted to apply for your leave to be here in the UK. So please, please, and please again, yes, you can do it together if you have the funds. If you don't have the funds, one person can do it first, but make sure the second person also does it before the leave expires. Otherwise, you'll find yourself in a very, very, very uncomfortable position. Margaret J.C. My father was a British citizen, but he's no more. How do I get my citizenship from Ghana? Oh, hi, Margaret. If your father was a British citizen before you were born, if your father was a British citizen other than by descent, let's say he naturalized, as a British citizen and you were born outside after he became British citizen, then you are a British citizen automatically under Section 22 of the British Nationality Act of 1981. Let me say again, if your father was a British citizen other than by descent, in other words, he wasn't born a British citizen, but he acquired his British citizenship through naturalization, and then you were born outside the UK, then you are a British citizen automatically. So we need to know, was your father a British before you were born, or you were born before he became British? We need to know. We need to know. So it says, my father was a British citizen, but he's no more. I was born 1983 from Ghana. Okay. So if he was British before you were born in Ghana, then you are a British citizen. Let me say it again. If he was British by naturalization or registration, and you were born outside the UK, that is born in Ghana after he became British, then, Margaret, you are a British citizen. We would need documentations to prove that he is your father. He is passed anyway. But can you get pictures, family members? Can you trace it backwards, backwards, backwards? We need some family tree, some relatives who can attest to the fact that he was in the UK, he was naturalized as a British citizen. If we can get all those documentations, your birth certificate, evidence that will support it, it's going to be a little difficult because you need to prove these things. Or if DNA may have to come in, if your father has some siblings and the siblings can do a DNA with you, and of course, there will be some connections all the way back to the UK to show that yes, he was a British citizen at the time of your birth, then certainly you will be able to obtain your British passport to come to the UK. It will take some work to do. It will take some a bit of research and a bit of work to get you to that point, but it is possible. Regina Kusiabu, hi lawyer. I was referring to the renewal process now that they have introduced the e-visa. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for the clarification. The e-visa is just an online system of you proving your right to be in the UK. So the e-visa is like an electronic way of you proving that you are here legally. But the application process will still be the same. You still have to complete your application form, you pay the application fee, pay the IHS, book appointments, go provide your biometrics, wait for the decision. Once the decision is made, it will be uploaded straight on your e-visa. So you don't have to wait for the Home Office to come to you with any biometric residence permit. They will send you a letter to say that you've been granted 2.5 years or you've been granted indefinite leave to remain, but you don't have to have any biometric residence what do you call it, permit. You all your details have automatically been uploaded onto the electronic system and you can check it there. But the application process will still be the same as it is now. Complete the form, pay the IHS, pay the Home Office fee, book appointment, provide your biometrics, wait for the decision. Thank you so much for the clarity. Richard Buensi. Hi, Richard. My sponsor is under investigation. Can I apply for my newborn baby while he's still under auditing auditing investigation? And what is the cost for applying for my child? Thank you. Thank you too. Well, yes, as long as it's under investigation, the license has not been revoked, you are still here legally. I would advise you to yes apply. I don't have the figures for the application of head, but I mean we could always check it. Or yourself, you can just go online and check uh, visa for dependents of a tier 2 worker or dependent of a healthcare worker or a skilled worker. Visa for the dependent of a skilled worker, it will give you the fee. I don't have it off head. I may be able to check for you later, but you can still do that homework yourself. Thank you very, very much, my brother. Emmanuel Esam. Is it possible for a sickle cell patient to apply for working permit? Why not? Why not? I mean, your medical condition shouldn't exclude you or limit you from applying for working permit. If you qualify or if you have a sponsor, go ahead. I mean, a lot of people, everybody has some disability, only that some are visible and some are not. But I can tell you, everybody has something which is a form of a sickness or a disability. Don't let your sickle cell condition limit you from applying if you are up to the job. Please go for it. Go for it. Emmanuel Amuwa hi. Please, I want to do family growth application, but I don't have passports. Family growth? I haven't had this one before. I want to do a family growth application, but I don't have a passport with my kids, but I have school letter and GP letter and pictures. You mean family routes? Okay. You want to do a family route application because maybe your child is a British citizen or your spouse is a British citizen or the children's mother is settled and you want to apply based on your child. And you are saying, I don't have passports with my kids. Passports? You mean pictures with your kids or passports with your kids? You don't necessarily need a passport for your child to to apply for yourself. If the child is a British citizen because the mother is settled or the mother has indefinite leave or is a British citizen, automatically the child is a British citizen. You don't necessarily need a passport before you apply. But I have school letters and GP letter and pictures. Yes, so which is good. School letter is good. GP letter is excellent. Pictures, very good. These days, the Home Office doesn't really place much emphasis on pictures anyway, but yes, you can chip it in. You don't have to have a passport for the child before you apply. I have done it time and again, and it's been successful. All you need to prove is that the child's parent, the child's mother, has indefinite before the child was born. This is the mother's status, indefinite leave to remain on British. This is the child's birth certificate. And under Section 1 of the British Nationality Act of 1981, the child is a British automatically, and therefore, you as a parent, you are also able to apply based on your child. Thank you. Kim Money. Hi, lawyer. Please, I want to know if I have to write the English language B1 and live in the UK test for my indefinite leave to remain, or when I'm going for my British citizenship. Thank you. Well, it depends on the route on which you are. If you are on the 10-year route or on the 5-year route, then yes, you have to write the English language test and the life in the UK test before you go for your indefinite and also for your British citizenship. Now, the same one you've done for your indefinite, you use the same documents for your British citizenship. You don't have to go and write another one again. No. So if you wrote it for your indefinite, you use the same document for your British citizenship. If you are under the EU law, you do not have to do the English language test for indefinite, but you have to do it for your citizenship. Let me say it again. If you're under the EU, if you're under the UK law, yes. If you're under the EU law, no test, no life in the UK for indefinite, but tests and life in the UK for British citizenship. So that is for your information. Thank you. Job also Boateng, hi. I hope you are doing well. Are you the same Job, my friend Job? Things are progressing. So good evening, lawyer. Good evening, Job. Can life in the UK English test level B2 expire? The life in the UK test does not expire. Life in the UK is life. What is life does not die. What is life does not expire. But the B2, B1 actually, yes, is valid for 2 years. 2 years. But like I said, if you used the B1 or B2 for your indefinite, then you can even use the same certificate for your British citizenship, even if it is past 2 years, because you've already used it. You've used it before. They've sent it. They've approved of it. So therefore, once it is approved, you don't have to do a new one for your citizenship if you did it for your life, for your indefinite leave to remain. You don't have to do it again for your British citizenship. Mark Derek Chawe. Hello, Mr. Chawe. I hope you're doing good. In Ghana, yes, I applied for a job in the UK and awaiting sponsorship certificate. How long does it take for my sponsorship certificate to be ready? And how long does it take for me to get ILR if granted work visa? Right. You are very, very optimistic, which is good. I like that spirit. I like your spirit. Well, look, once the COS is approved, it can take a couple of months. It used to be very quick. It used to be a matter of weeks, but I think there's a bit of backlog, or for whatever reason, these days it's taking about 2 months and sometimes 3 months. And once it is approved, sent to you, you apply to come to the UK. You can do the quick one by paying a bit extra. You get a decision within 5 days or 10 days. You are in the UK and you work with the same employer for 5 years. You get your indefinite leave to remain. Now, after the indefinite leave to remain, you just have to wait for 1 year. You get your British citizenship. So in total, you will need 6 years to become a British, but 5 years to be a person who is settled in the UK. So I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best and your endeavors in obtaining the COS, and also in your application process to come to the UK. Actually wish you all the best. All right. Can 20 hours be used to renew skilled worker visa of 3 years without working with your sponsor? That can be tricky, because it's a requirement that you should work with your sponsor and do 20 hours extra somewhere else. So if you're not working with the employer at all, then that can be a problem. That can be a problem. Um, right now, as it stands, we now starting to the renewal processes. People who have been here for 2 years, people who've been here for 3 years, the renewal processes are now starting. So we are waiting to see what the government or the Home Office will require. But in your case, I would say that it could be a problem if you never work with the main employer. Depending on the 20 hours extra can be a bit tricky. So please be mindful of that. Thank you. Abednego Chikata. Yeah, bro, lucky, a phone. For me. So, can someone on a student's permit give invitation for someone and visit? Of course, as long as you are here in the UK legally, you can always invite another person to visit you. The problem is, it's not your status that is being considered, it's the person who is coming's status. In other words, their condition, their personal circumstances that is going to be considered. Of course, students can be tricky anyway. Of course, you are a student. Why do you want somebody to come and visit you, and for how long? Where are you going to be staying with a person? Is it a student hostel? All those questions can come in. But yes, you can invite somebody to come and visit you. Nothing stops them from coming. If you look at the prohibition or the areas of visit visa, there is nothing which says a student cannot have a visitor. But the one who is coming, they'll look at, are they working? How much do they earn? How long have they been working? How much do they spend? What is left for them, etc., etc. What will make them go back? But if your father, your mother, your family member want to visit you, of course, nothing stops them from coming to visit you, or from you inviting them to come and visit you. Daniel Dome, I believe I have pronounced it well. If not, please pardon me. I am on student visa. Is it possible I can? Is it possible I can my children as depend? You mean is it possible to bring your children as dependents when I get? Okay. Postgraduate visa. Since I can't bring them now because of finance. Unfortunately, with the postgraduate visa, you cannot bring your dependents. If they were already here with you, you can move with them to the graduate visa route. But if they are not here, then you cannot take them or bring them in when you're on the graduate visa route. So I would advise that if eventually you settle, then you can bring them. you can bring them when you settle or when you get on the graduate visa route, and somehow you are able to switch into a genuine employment that have the sponsorship license, then you can consider that. But even that, you will not be able to bring them because it depends on the category of work in which you are. If it is health and care, you can't. But other categories, maybe the construction industry, they are still able to bring their dependents as far as I know. So you can do that if you get into those sectors. So yes, it could be possible or it might not be possible depending on the category in which you fall. Yes, Mr. Domain. Regina Kusiebua again. Hi, my brother came here married to a British citizen. His visa is expiring in December. Will he have to reapply and pay the full fees for the e-visa, or will it be updated for him automatically? No, there is no automatic updating. He has to apply. It is only the decision. It is the decision or the viewing of the status that is electronic, that is e-visa, not the stay, not the application process. You still have to apply, complete the forms, enter your details, pay the application fee, pay the IHS, go for biometrics, and they'll make a decision. When they make the decision, they will send you a letter that your application has been approved. Once it is approved, they will not give you a card. They will not give you a biometric permit. You can check your status online. That is the electronic visa. That is the electronic visa. The application process remains the same. It is the viewing, the card that they should have given you, or the permit they should have given you on the card is what they won't give you, is what you have to check electronically. But everything else, please take note, will be done as it is right now. Richard Duce Fefe, yeah, bro, Fonama, but we several for me. Navamiado Jesia. Good evening. Please, what about if the B1 was written in Ghana before getting the visa for the first time? Are you to write it again for the indefinite leave to remain, indefinite and citizenship? Yes. The reason is it's valid for 2 years. 2 years. And it is only accepted if you used it for your indefinite. That is when you use it again for your citizenship. But if you use it for your 2.5 and 2.5, that is not indefinite. That is for your extension. So I would advise that should do it again. The reason why I advise you to do it again is this. If it is refused, you'll be put back on another 2.5 years. Meanwhile, if you had done it and you are given, it will cost you £150. That will save you more than, obviously, £150 is less than 3,000, 3,635 pounds. £150 is far less, far less than 3,530. I'm getting that figures wrong. £3,635 and 50p. 3635.50. Please, to be on the safer side, just do it. £150. It will save you a lot of headache from being granted 2.5 years when you should be given indefinite leave, and then you have to go through the process again. DJ, I'll take the last two, and then I would run off to another segment. Hello, Justice Aqua. Hi. I have been granted limited leave in the UK and have BRC card. Do I need also to do the e-visa? You have been granted, if you say BRC, that is another EU law. You don't have to do it. If it is BRC and it is under the EU law, Appendix EU, you do not have to do it. But if it is BRP, P for Papa, permits, then you have to do it. So you say you've been granted limited leave in the UK, which is the pre-settled status, I believe, under the EU law, you don't have to do the e-visa. But I'll say it again, but if it is BRP, check your card. If it is BRP or residence permit, then yes, you have to do the English language. You have to do the e-visa, sorry. Richard Buensi, hi. Please, let's all help DJ Rich. I like this person. I like this person. Let's all help DJ Rich 650K by the end of the year. Like, comment, and share the page. Much love to DJ and lawyer. God bless you, Richard Wednesday. We're grateful for your support and in everything you do to support us. We're grateful. DJ, we will reach 700K. Inshallah, God willing.
So they should just tap on subscribe. They should just follow us on our YouTube channel, and then they watch our videos. That's most important. Lawyer Akpe, Medasi, thank you so much. So every Fridays, be a lawyer wisdom akawa. I hope someone will share nyano. Bebo information sa mo pe questions sa mo bisa ni so answer mo nyina. Nti I hope say bebo amo. Nti mo nko so na mo follow yen. Bibia na me de bebre mo, me de update bebre mo. Nti mo just join me so bi be bisa about asylum seeking ni ade. Am say waka beginning ni ade. Say bi oba late. Nti anyway, say update. Your lawyer me da say Wiseman solicitors office location omo UK, omo be mobile London, omo office no office location.
DJ Midasi, a Wiseman Solicitors, number 8 to 9, The Print House, 18 to 22, Ashwin Street, London, Dalston, E8 3DL, E8 3 Delta Lima, Wiseman Solicitors. We are simple, and then we do exactly what we have to do. It's as simple as that. No complications. There are delays in certain applications from the Home Office, but we are working to get them all sorted. If you come to us, we'll be very honest, open, and frank with you. I will tell you point blank. Yes, a bit delay, I will let you understand. A bit cut in term, I will let you understand. That's just the way we do it. So please, Wiseman Solicitors, 18 to 22 Ashwin Street, 8 to 9 The Print House, Dalston, London, E8 3DL. Yo, behind the McDonald's, what Dalston Junction, bang the Dalston Market now. Yeah, bang Dalston Market now. Behind McDonald's, we were who do what bisa for McDonald's no. But McDonald's now. We are directly behind the McDonald's, number 18 to 22 Ashwin Street. Bootstrap Charity. Bootstrap Charity. Uba, yeah, be sure. If you have any concerns, you have any needs, please call, book appointments, come over. We'll do the best we can to assist you in resolving your questions or the immigration problems. Thank you, DJ. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you again for all of us who have been on the line to view and to share and to like. Thank you. Say, mau na agbemi la next week. Nyaga dodo. Mau hawo wala
Now you want next week onu.
No.
Aha. Lawyer me da say lawyer wisdom account na mutie no Wiseman Solicitors every Fridays we are live on SVTV Africa, SVTV International, SVTV Africa Foundation. I'm supporting mo subscribe to your channel na yesre mo. Omo share videos no ba bebre tap subscribe mo follow yen. And so just tap once per tap biom. Notification of videos ne ba obenye bi ahwe me so bi kura be tro say aya onya notification. Mami nyako also onya notification in American lawyer no, US lawyer no, Ghanaian lawyer no, US lawyer ba, but umia bell no say onya notification because we need our programs be brave. Oko English channel no so SVTV International English. Nti me ne ye twi ne English videos no topics be brave but follow yen obenya no so onya notification and as okay videos no ma the reason why good says so tap subscribe necessary be the video bar na me adoma na the video bar obenya notification no ahwe and as say unhumpo a when me subscribe me so ko videos ko SVTV Africa page na ko videos no ko videos ma be ma to date ti si amene ba be ka say amene mo ka say we a ye be drop videos si a 7 abo ti who follow and the obenya notification yes a obechia na woni akobo back so nti we obe message videos no ti mo follow ya na mo share na mo support ye ndie ya ka cha mo say ha no omo aso na ebeti informations are lawyer the man mo nyina no solid ugonya no wahi we be say questions lawyers are no be some questions be obeka just say send an email you say but we be say na obeka chro be info dey form keke nti na mo reach na ma contact even DJ nyame madam an say mo hwe mo join na nyina na madam say mame nyakwa adepa me da say justice akwa me da say Emmanuel Atta me da say Richard Asare me da say mo join na nyina Augustine me da say shout out to DJ Nyam and lawyer shout out to you too ya opoku me da say Canada must obey. Thank you so much Ras Ebo me da say Justice Akwa me da say Richard Duche Ezi Fefe me da say mamboni ya Fefe mamboni ya Fachemi Wejana kusi ya boa me da say Daniel Domi me da say Abegnego Chikata me da say King Money, thank you so much. Richard Boyce me da say Thomas me da say Benjamin Ahetu, thank you so much. Mark Derek Chawi me da say Emmanuel Amwako me da say Mamu join a class ni nyina and then mu join a live na me bomudin Jobo Usu Wate me da say Emmanuel Amwako me da say Nanajua Pokuya Chumisi, thank you so much. Emmanuel Isam, thank you so much. Margaret Yesi me da say Vivi, thank you so much. Ernestina Siedu me da say Joe Amadi me da say Manasseh Ebenezer me da say thank you so much. Kuba Kofi me da say Hussein Tinimu me da say Tenimu Hussein Tenimu me da say I Chief TV me da say Kofi Buedi me da say Joanna is it Osafo me da say Nyakon me da say Nyakon Abrano ma me da say mo joining nyina shout out to mo big ups SBTV Africa we new making sure so be following in real life we are me drop video hey mo Ghanaian lady no truck no oni mo bia on so America truck and all baby truck driver link it up obono mo de pa mo ko hwe me ni interview no YouTube so I subscribe there me so be notification Salome Koi me da say so joining here greetings to you too Mel Kwabena thank you so much Grace Press thank you so much Godfrey Apraku thank you so much Osei Hagan me da say Florence Aqua me da say mo joining here me da say thank you so much guys nyame adoma mo follow yen the videos in the bebre de papa obesua de obesa oba me show no so bia me numbers for YouTube channel even your Facebook page, my number, or just WhatsApp me and also send me voice note. And how who frame me there, and they may disappoint too. But they send a voice note and WhatsApp message, me respond. If I'm DJ Nyame, mo subscribe it, na mo rain fee, say mo be share video no so about live I know share na buobi. Ah de enye kinkin. Omo aso enom beti. Charlie. Abana nye eko ushia okroma kase tua na majisu tutua so tua makrama.
She has a plan, a secret mission filled by gratitude and affection. She chooses her mother's favorite breakfast. Delight Foods, House Coco, a harmonious blend of flavors crafted with care and devotion. The taste of tradition and comfort. In that moment, their connection deepens, a bond strengthened by a shared experience. Delight Foods, House of Coco. A delicious breakfast made with care and love in just 2 minutes.